Funny thing though, I believe Karen called the cops on me. I got a noise disturbance reported. Fortunately, the camera died, but you guys missed Karen. She came out to complain about everything. I called her Karen to her face. Kind of over her, especially after the cop called today. Welcome back to another episode of Broke Premier, guys. If you are new to the channel, I've previously been working on my 2005 Hyundai Tucson that I picked up for $700. I got it so cheap because if you saw in the first episode, the paint was completely destroyed. It was completely wrecked. And it also had a timing issue, which discovered, I think, either in the last episode or the episode before. The reason why it has a timing issue is the guy tried to do the head gasket, but now we discovered that he did the head gasket wrong, and then I had to do it again. So it kind of works out. I get to verify the work's done correctly, then do the timing correctly. Hopefully everything works out well. Unfortunately, this intro is a little different. The first video take of the first part of the intro got corrupted again. I think the heat on this camera and the sun has been kind of just frying it. So anyway, I apologize. It's a little weird and a little awkward. I'm gonna roll right into the next clip after this. But basically my goal in this episode is that I wanted to sand the entire car and get it prepped for paint. But the first thing I wanna sand and prep is the door. So luckily I was able to go to the junkyard and get this door. I've mentioned before, it's been pretty hard to find anything for this car, guys. Like there's only one in LA. Hyundai Tucson available in the junkyards out of like 13 up there and then 3 down here, like the pick and pulls anyway. So I had to go to a secondhand junkyard. It was a little higher in price, but I felt lucky enough to find the door at all. It did cost me about double what it normally costs at the pick and pull, but that's okay. Glad I have a door. And the reason I got this door is because something happened here where this one got mangled. I don't know if it got caught and ripped, but something happened where obviously it's completely destroyed. Now that I've done a little body work, I probably could have finagled this and made it better, but at the time I didn't know that and I didn't want to take the chance. Plus, since it's in such an intricate little space, I didn't want to take too much risk. So anyway, got the door, but I do need to prep and paint the whole thing. What I would like to start off with in this episode is I want to sand this thing down, tape it all off, primer it, and at the very least, paint the inside of the door so that it matches with the door jambs. But first what I'm going to do is get started with sanding, go from there. So I'm going to get started. See you guys in a bit. All right, guys, it took a little longer than I expected, as always, but I sanded the whole thing down, scuffed the whole thing down, taped everything off. What I want to do next is I want to wipe this thing off with some rubbing alcohol. Then I want to paint the outside with primer, probably do 2 coats. Let it dry for probably 10 or 15 minutes, maybe 20. Then I want to flip it over, prime the other side, probably again 1 or 2 coats. And then I want to paint the other side the color. I want this primed beforehand because if I tried to prime it afterwards, after doing the interior, I will most likely spray primer right over the interior color and just destroy all the work that I just tried to fix. So that's my goal for right now. But yeah, like I said, first I want to clean it off with some rubbing alcohol and then I'll give it its first shot. So I'm gonna get started. I'll talk to you guys in a bit. All right, I ended up painting the whole door, primered the whole thing. Now I want to throw on the red. The back side came out pretty nice. The front side started drying so fast and the dry spray started blowing over into where I was about to paint. So it started making like all these little black pellets of paint. So unfortunately, the front side need a little bit of work to redo. Even here, there's a little bit in this area. But what I want to do right now is throw on the red color and at least get this a nice little coverage inside so that everything's done. I don't think that I'm going to do the clear on the inside today. I'll probably do it while it's hooked up to the car. I know that's not ideal, but it will be a big pain for me to try to achieve that today, just because there's no way I'm getting this whole thing painted today. It's not happening. I've come to accept it. It's already almost 6 o'clock. I'm just gonna try to paint this, get the door installed on the vehicle, and then hopefully tomorrow I can actually paint it all. So I might try to sand everything tonight, but then tape off and paint everything tomorrow. That's what I'm thinking. I really don't know. This is taking quite a bit of time. I think I've been dreading doing this, to be quite honest. I knew it was gonna be a long project. I knew it was gonna be tedious. Painting's just such a pain when there's wind and people and cars, and it's just like such a patience game you have to play. So anyway, that's where I'm at. I'm gonna get started with it, and then I'll get back to you guys in a bit. All right, I have put the red on the door. It actually looks pretty good. I'm pretty impressed. There is still the problem with dry spraying in the hot parts of the sun. So if there's sunlight on it, it tends to dry up and kind of beat up the paint, or else it lays down really nice. So I am gonna have to be wet sanding when I actually paint this thing, especially this door, at least on the outside. So like right here, it's just all rough. This is like gritty, metallic feeling. On top, it's not as bad. In here, it's not too bad. The window frame, it's not too bad. Over here, it's pretty dang good, especially the top. Down here, it's a little rough here. This side's smooth. Whole thing, yeah, there's a little bit here, a little bit of grit, but otherwise, it's pretty dang smooth. I really gotta find a garage, guys. It's time. In fact, with that said, if any of you guys know any realtors or people who own property in San Diego who might have a garage, it doesn't have to be anything spectacular. It could be an old barn, as long as it has a cement pad, water, and electricity. I just want to be able to put a lift on it, so probably higher ceilings and like maybe 600 square feet. And I'd be willing to pay probably around 1,200 bucks. So if any of you guys know of anything like that, please hit me up in the comments. I really do need to find something pretty soon. Getting back to this, I think right now I'm going to leave this. I was originally going to install it, but I just realized I do want to throw a clear coat on it. I wasn't going to originally, but the insides of the rest of the doors all have a nice sheen to them. So I do want to do the same thing for this, especially because I still have to do the clear coat on the window frame. You still see this whole part when you open and close the door. So this part isn't going anywhere. You're always going to see it. This you won't see. This, once the door is closed, you won't see. But that part is always visible. So no matter what, I got to clear coat that. But the thing with the spray cans is you get about, they say I think 48 hours or 36 hours on the cans. I don't like it. Once you mix a hardener, it really does start to screw up the nozzles, everything. So I don't want to mess with it too much. I'd prefer to open the can and use it the same day, let this thing dry out, and work on the rest of the car and use it again in a couple of hours. With that said, what I want to do next is I want to start sanding this thing down. At the very least, start the hood, get the spots where the clear coat is clearly chipping off, and it goes from clear coat to base coat, and just kind of feather out this line everywhere. So that's what I want to start right now. It's kind of literally everywhere, like even down to these sills. I'm gonna see if I can take these rubber pieces off. I should be able to. I took it off this door. I should be able to take off these sills and get it a little bit cleaner in here, but all these sills have clear coat damage. So I'm gonna start that right now, and it's, as you can see, it's getting a little late. The sun is just over the building, so probably have about 30 minutes, 40 minutes of daylight, and then it's gonna be a little too late to make all this noise, so I'll probably have to pick it back up in the morning, but I'd like to get the majority of it done right now, so really all I have to do in the morning would be tape off. But the way the sander's going, the way it's been acting, I don't think I'm gonna get the majority of this done. So I'll be happy if I get the hood done, maybe part of the roof. But regardless, I just wanna get started. So I'm gonna start getting after it. See you guys in a bit. All right guys, it is the next morning. I tried to use that DA sander and it would work great for about 30 seconds. Then my air compressor was out of air and it would take about 10 to 15 minutes to refill back up to get 30 seconds. Also, shout out to MJC, because after he mentioned it in the last video about using the electric sander, I went back to that idea. So I just pulled my electric sander out, this thing, but the pad is kind of shot. It's all dry rotted. So I know once I start using it, it's gonna start crumbling to pieces. So I just went to Home Depot, bought a new pad, went and bought the discs for it. So we're gonna try this out, see if this works better. It was starting to cut pretty good towards the end. I figured if I used about a 320 grit, it would get in and start taking up this edge. I could use 400, it just took a very long time. Wouldn't be worth it. So I took the 320, started cutting it nice. But what's crazy is all this was feathered out nice before I left last night. And I come back this morning, it's crazy. Just sitting here, the clear coat has separated by itself. So that means like the whole clear coat on this is just separated and laid on there like a dry sticker, I guess. I don't know. I guess what my goal is going to be now is to sand the whole hood. I was just gonna try to feather out everything, but I'm thinking if I do that, it's just gonna leave dead paint on there that's not gonna stay when I paint over it. So I think I'm gonna have to do the whole hood. I'll probably get away with it on sections like this just because it's less baked, but the roof and the hood I think have to be completely sanded flat. The other thing I'm realizing is my bodywork is a little ugly. Now that I have a little bit of light shining on it, you can definitely see the lines are a little rough, but I'm okay. I'm gonna leave it that way. I'm not gonna mess with it because I know I'm only gonna do more harm. It looks a heck of a lot better than it was all crumpled up metal and the paint rusted and falling off this area and a little bit of cracks. So it looks better. I think when it's sanded, painted, you'll probably notice it a little bit, but still not too bad. So I'm gonna leave that. But yeah, for right now, I'm gonna get started on the hood again, see how it goes. See you in a bit. All right guys, the hood is done. That took quite a bit of time. I think the roof is gonna be even longer. What's happening is the clear coat is mostly dry and destroyed and not really attached to anything. So it's really separating. So I got most of it off. This center section here, that's still solid. That was taking a lot to sand off. So in my head, that means that that's still adhered pretty well. And in fact, you can see the color change of adhesion here. So it's like base, clear adhesion, clear. You can kind of see the transformation where when it was really bad, and I can't really show you now because it's all gone, but it was just like a flat layer that would keep chipping pretty quick. Funny thing though, I believe Karen called the cops on me. I got a noise disturbance reported. I think it's hysterical. The cop was really cool. He's like, honestly, you're not doing anything wrong. It's nothing illegal. It's just kind of like, hey, your neighbors are whining about you. It's like, okay, cool. And I told him like, I don't want to be rude. I don't mean to be offensive, but just straight up, I'm probably going to keep going. He's like, yeah, okay. I mean, it is what it is. You're not doing anything wrong. I said, awesome. All right, thank you so much. So anyway, he left. I'm sure I will get another one probably in about an hour or two. I'll get another one coming in because it's gonna take a while on the roof. So I'm sure I'll see another cop. Hopefully I get a good thumbnail. If I don't get a thumbnail and it looks a little cheesy, then I had to make up the cop in the thumbnail. But if it's real and you see a cop car out here, that's what happened. Anyway, what I want to do is start tackling the sides, because most of this is already chipped going into the windshield, but just the layer coming on the outside, it's chipped. So I just need to sand this down. This is probably going to be one of those spots where I sand all the way through. Maybe here it'll start getting good, and actually good clear coat over here that's still adhered, but this all here will probably eat through. This will probably eat through mostly till about back here, just from what I'm learning doing the sanding. But yeah, first I want to start with the sides, and then I'll probably do the roof last, I'm thinking now, because all this is kind of easy work. This side will be a little rough. It'll be a little hard in here because I have to pop this window open to get into the chipping in that area. This should be fairly easy to clean up. In fact, I might just sand down to that line, bring it all down. This is going to be tricky. Yeah, I got to figure out how I'm going to get this. I'm not quite sure. I'd like to remove this emblem. I got to figure it out. I'm going to go get some dental floss, see if I can cut that thing out. I don't want to take these off. I'm probably going to try to tape these the best I can. I don't want to mess with them. I don't want to order a whole new set and everything. Bumper should be pretty easy to sand out. This one as well. These lines are sanding pretty easy. Oh, looks like this back fender's been repaired before too. Jeez, yeah, this is more Bondo. Yeah, this is all Bondo in here. All right, well, I'm gonna sand this down best I can, throw a coat over it. I'm not gonna try to take that whole thing down. I don't know, we'll see. We'll see how good it looks when I start sanding it down. Attack this side. Most of this is probably just gonna come off. This whole thing is probably gonna come off, probably till about, just feeling the paint, probably till almost here, maybe further. There's a lot of little spots. So this should come off pretty easy, probably right down until about this line. Anyway, I'm gonna start taking it off, and then I will attack the top. So that's my goal. I'm gonna get started. See you in a bit. All right guys, all the sides of the body are done. Last thing left is the roof. And unfortunately the camera died, but you guys missed Karen. She came out to complain about everything. I called her Karen to her face, kind of over her, especially after the cop called today. And then she said something about being a white male, calling her Karen. And of course she's a victim because I'm so noisy. Just really irritated me that she doesn't take accountability for herself. She can move, she could go work somewhere else. I know it's annoying. It's one day, like toughen up. I don't know what to tell you. Like we're in the city, it sucks. I have to deal with noise on my days off. I have to deal with the airplanes here every 2 minutes. You guys don't even know. Maybe sometimes you catch an airplane here and there, but every 2 minutes we have an airplane. That's why my videos are pretty chopped tight together, so you don't hear that noise. But like, I'm not the only noise. So anyway, I'm a little worked up, as you can tell. But anyway, I want to attack the roof next. Once I get the roof done, it's really the last hard bit grit part that I have to do. Then really all it's gonna be is a quick once over with some 400 grit. All the hard spots, I just missed a spot, so I'll have to get this spot quick. But most of the hard spots are done. And then this thing is gonna be ready for paint. I think that's it. This is probably gonna eat up a lot of the sandpaper. Probably gonna be the noisiest, which brings me a little joy right now, I'm not gonna lie. Oh man, she got me worked up. My adrenaline's pumping. Just the nerve, just to think everything should change around you for you because you want it quiet, really just irritated me. Everyone else coming over saying hi. Another guy asked me, he wants to stop by and watch me as I do it. She's the only one. It's just like the entitlement drove me nuts, sorry. Going on a rant. Anyway, I'm gonna get started with this roof. I wanna get this thing done. I don't think there's gonna be any painting this episode just because I realized, guys, I kept thinking that I was getting sanding and painting done in one episode, and I was. But that was back when I was doing one episode for 4 days or 5 days of taping, even 6 days of taping. So that was a different time. I was doing a different style of video. So what I thought was 2 days was really 4 or 5 or even up to 6. Anyway, I'm gonna get started with that. See you guys in a bit.
slowly. I think I'm crazy. Well, I think it's crazy. Think I'm slowly. I think I'm crazy. Well, I think it's crazy. Think I'm slowly. I think I'm crazy. Well, I think it's crazy. Think I'm slowly. I think I'm crazy. Well, I think it's crazy.
All right, guys, the whole thing is done. I sanded the whole car. Luckily, I won't have to worry about anything next time. It is all gonna be tape and paint. Unfortunately, I do think I missed the front bumper while recording, but yeah, the whole thing is done. I'm very happy. Yeah, I think just next episode, I'm gonna have to throw the front door on, and luckily the interior is already painted, so I just need to throw like one good clear coat on it. Maybe I'll sand it down a little bit on the dry paint sides, but overall I'm content. I did find out that there was a bunch of body work on this thing. This corner for sure had been hit. Back bumper wasn't so bad. This area, of course, that we went over already. Probably more in here, I'm guessing. And then the whole front bumper has been reworked as well. You can see Bondo kind of everywhere. There's a lot of paint cracking, so it's almost like someone was playing bumper cars with this thing, and then the next person started playing bumper cars again and cracking all the paint. So anyway, I'm pretty happy about this. It all turned out pretty good. All things considered, I think next week will just be taping and painting, completely done. And I realized why the Karen thing got to me so bad. It was more just the entitlement and the passive aggressiveness of coming over and asking, are you gonna be doing this all day? And expecting something to change, as if I was gonna say, oh no, I'll finish, or I'm so sorry. Like, just the entitlement and the expectancy that something else was going to happen because she asked a passive aggressive question. That's what got to me so bad. And it like, it got that little beast out of me. But I'm feeling better. I'm feeling okay. Speaking with the cops, I'm doing nothing illegally. Even when he pulled up, he's like, I'm sorry, man. We're just told we have a noise complaint. We have to go look at it, tell you your neighbor's complaining about you. I said, okay, great. I was like, not to be rude, but I'm probably gonna do this again after you leave. I just don't wanna make you guys angry. Like, are you cool with that? He's like, I don't care. It's like, maybe I'll see you again. I don't know. Cop was really cool. I'm doing nothing illegal. It's just Karen wants it her way, the way she wants it, when she wants it. And that's not what's happening. Anyway, I'm gonna stop ranting. So yeah, Karen's messing with me a little bit today, but overall, it was a good day. There was a lot done. Unfortunately, I didn't get the paint, but it's been like 7, maybe even 8 hours of sanding. So I am whooped, and unfortunately, it took way longer than I expected. I thought it was gonna be a lot faster. I'm trying to remember how I got things so fast. Maybe the paint was just so flaky on the Mazda that it just was falling off. This one had to be worked a little bit, but I am content with how good it turned out. Come next episode, I'm probably gonna have to hit it with like a 400 grit quick, nothing bad, just kind of rescuff it. I imagine some of this will kind of get a light rust on it, some of this bare metal. I know I should cover it, but I know if I spray some primer right now, it's gonna get all over the windshield, the lights. I'm gonna have little specks everywhere. So unfortunately, this is gonna have to sit 1, 2, maybe 3 days like this until I can finally hit it again. And I'll just use some 400 grit, take off the light rust that had happened, and smack some primer on those spots. But yeah, guys, with all that being said, I think that is going to wrap up this episode of Bro Premiere. So I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week, and I'll catch you again on Thursday. Later, guys.